Start your week smiling with your friends, Kathy Zant and Michelle Frechette. It's time to get ready for some weekly motivation with WP Motivate. Happy 4th, Kathy.
Happy 4th of July. I've got like a little flag on my arm. There's my
I see
flag.
that.
And then my shirt is I am the
I am the storm. I have, wait, I can reach it. I have Rosie the Riveter on my desk. She's red, white, and blue. Wait, she has a rivet gun that she doesn't hold very well. And wait, one more thing. I thought I lost it when the move, but I found it. She has her little lunchbox.
Oh, that's awesome.
My Rosie the Riveter action figure. Anyway, I'll put it aside. But you're kind of like her out there with your chainsaw.
I'm feeling it. I've gotten to the point of first it was like, okay, I accept what the storm is bringing me. And then I was like, all right, I can do this. You know what? I'm pretty good at this. This is a good workout. And now I'm just like, yeah, I'm listening to Post Malone's Country Era in a forest in Texas, chopping up the brush. I'm going to get myself a cowboy hat. Sure enough.
As you should.
Might buy myself a case of Shiner Bock. I'm just going to do this thing. See what it brings me.
I don't know what Shiner Bock is, but just send me a picture when you get it. Like, I know what a cowboy hat is. I'm guessing it's some kind of weird beer. Okay.
It's beer. My joke, like when somebody asked my address, I'm like, it's one Shiner Bock away. It's my address in Texas.
No, I know that's not true. So don't send anything to Kathy at that address.
But it's not. No, if you send anything to one Shiner Bock way, it's not going to end up to me. That's my joke address.
I do wonder, like, if anybody like Google Maps that, they're like, where is that anyway? It'd be like, I don't know, some kind of, there should be an Easter egg. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh, have you ever, like, I don't want to say idolized, but like looked up to, appreciated, whatever, somebody, a public figure, only to find out afterwards, like, it was Mr. Rogers and he kicks puppies like that? He doesn't, like, he was an authentic person, but
Rogers, bite thy tongue. If Mr. Rogers ever did anything like that, then I am just like, I'm done. No, I'm done. I'm cooked. I cannot.
Okay. For the record, there's no evidence. I'm probably the first person in the history of people to ever say that Mr. Rogers might have kicked puppies. I'm sure he did not. But
no.
Whoever met somebody or looked up to somebody and then like discovered they had feet of clay, right? That they could not stand up on their own.
Right, that their persona, their public persona was not actually a reflection of who they are in reality.
Yeah. And for some people, it gets them canceled. I mean, I think that Mel Gibson has made a little bit of a comeback, but like when he did the whole like the Holocaust never happened things, have you seen him in a good movie since then? That's all I'm saying, right? Like, because that's when you realize that somebody who like you paid money to go watch them in film because they're so good, and maybe you didn't like lust after them, or I never lusted after him just for the, I don't know why all these. Can we start over anyway? But like you don't want to watch their movies even anymore because you discover like what a horrible person they are.
Or like listening to Jenny on the Block.
Yes. Oh my gosh, right? Like, did you hear they're getting divorced again? We're not like this.
Yeah.
We're not here to talk celebs,
there's
but...
there's one like short that I've seen on somewhere where it's like they're walking to the car together and Ben Affleck is just like, oh, my misery of my life, and he opens the car door for
rolls
and
his
slams
eyes
it shut with such disdain, like, why is this woman in my life? I'm just like, yeah, Jenny is no longer on my block.
No, and she doesn't even know what her order is from the bodega, so like an orange drink and chips and a ham sandwich. No. Anyway, or whatever she said. I don't know. I don't really pay that much attention to celebrities, but sometimes I do. But we even have celebrities like WordPress people that other people look up to and stuff like that. And I'm always afraid that people aren't going to be as authentic in person as they are like on the stage. Like when you see somebody on stage and giving a talk, and then you end up sitting with them at lunch, I think by and large people are pretty much who they say they are, but not always.
Yeah.
Not always.
I'll tell my story. The names have been changed to protect the guilty. But when I was much, much younger, so I was on the speech team in college, and so many of the people who ran in my circles and that I hung out with ended up being actors or ended up in the entertainment industry. My husband, he had done a bunch of work with celebrities and stuff, so I've got a ton of different stories, but I will tell one story.
Okay.
So I was hanging out with my friend in Chicago who was acting a lot, and there was a certain individual who had stage presence that I've never seen before or since. He could stand on a stage and the entire room would, well, maybe it was just me and I was just like, all else reality was gone and he was the only
Yeah.
person there. He had so much stage presence. And I ended up spending quite good deal of time with this individual, and the stage presence that I was in absolute love with was not what I got to hang out with on a
Smoke and
Saturday night
mirrors,
over
all an
beers.
act.
It was just
Uh,
like he had a stage persona and it
yeah.
was amazing. And he should have been much more successful than, he was successful, as successful as I think he wanted to be, really. But he could have been so much more. He was like what my speech coach would have said, wallowing in potential. He was an exceptional actor with great stage presence, but in real life, he was just not that person. But I fell in love with the stage presence and
Yeah.
would have, followed that person who didn't exist. I was just like, where'd he go? Where's that guy?
No,
You know,
I'm
I'm
willing.
here for
I'm
that
willing.
guy. Do I
I
have to
want
pay
that
five
guy.
dollars to get into the show? Like, where's the show?
Hello. I will grant that people have bad days, right? There's probably people who've met me and thought, meh, God, she was such a bitch, and maybe I was like passing a kidney stone. I don't know. But one of the anyway, one of the people that like, okay, maybe a step down from Fred Rogers, but one of the people in the music industry that had such a wonderful reputation for being such a kind, wonderful person was John Denver. I've only ever
Hmm.
heard good things publicly about John Denver. When I was a kid, like maybe 5 or 6, probably 6 or 7, maybe 8. I don't know. I was less than 10. I'll say that because it was when we lived in Massachusetts. My aunt's husband at the time was married to the drummer of the Starland Vocal Band. Afternoon Delight, that song, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so when we live, so when they came to Boston, they were opening for John Denver. And my mom and dad went to the concert and got to meet John Denver backstage afterwards. And my mom came home and said, well, he was an asshole. I'm like, I mean, I didn't know. I was
Really?
like 8, like it didn't matter. I just heard his music on the radio. Over the years, and I'll have to go back and ask her about it again to see if she remembers. But over the years, as I got to hear more about him, and then when he passed away and all these wonderful stories about him, I would think back to, I would like in my brain say, oh, but he's really an asshole in real life. Like he's just but then
Oh,
I thought, got to
yeah,
thinking, maybe the dude was high. I mean, it was the 70s, could have been.
sure.
And so, and my mom never got high. That was not who she was. She's, I don't think she, anyway, she hardly even, like, white wine spritzer once a year was my mom's thing, right? But I tried one once because it sounded so good. I did not like a white wine spritzer, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, my mom, like, he could have just gotten off the phone and got told he was getting divorced. I mean, a million things could have happened
Anything.
that my mother passing this person one time, chance encounter, kind of thing, that he came across as negative to her. So her whole perception was what an asshole, which then transferred to me until I was old enough to go, you know, I think that might have been the one-off experience because everybody else
Yeah,
has all these lovely things to say about the man. So I will say all of that long story just to say, yeah, we understand that people have bad days, but I don't think you and I are talking about the situation where we've had this one-off conversation, but like where you really see under the hood, behind the curtain, whatever they say,
yeah,
multiple occasions just to discover that this person that you maybe had such held in such high esteem was undeserving of that high esteem.
yeah.
It's
It
it's it,
happens,
it does. It does.
There've uh there are plenty of people that I've met just in the WordPress community where they have a certain persona when they're at a word camp. They have a certain persona on a live stream or in any other way. But then, you get to know them more
Yeah.
intimately and it's like, wait a minute, that's not who you were like when there was a
Right.
crowd of people around. But
Exactly.
you and I were talking earlier about like authenticity as ugh, I want to say trump card, but I don't want to say trump card, but it's like the it's the thing that everybody wants, because I think you're a very authentic person. I know that I am. I don't have I mean, I have an angry side. You can ask my teenager about that when she loses things. Um, but
But having a range
I
of emotions is not inauthentic.
right, no, I'm 100% authentic. I can
Yeah.
be, but but I'm also very like I'm going to tell you the truth. Like if something
Hmm.
crosses a line, I'm going to stand up for myself and I'm going to call a spade a spade when I see it. Lots of people don't like that, but I'm very authentic about like who I really am and I know you're that way too. And I think sometimes people see like somebody called us to me in a private conversation WordPress A-listers. And I'm like, well, if I had an A-list card, what am I playing it here? Like, I could be playing it. I don't know where else I could play it, but all right, I guess.
Shouldn't I live in a mansion?
Yeah. What is this? Like, I don't understand, but it's just like, I think the reason why, though, people watch what you do or have watched what I've done is the authenticity
Yeah.
of, like in the cadence community. I'm still in there, like, hey, here's an opportunity. Hey,
Hmm.
like any chance I get. I mean, I obviously got other things to do, but even though I'm not director of marketing there anymore, I still like the community knows me and recognizes me for at least trying to help, right?
Hmm.
Trying to be of service, right? And just being me. But people see that sometimes and it's like, okay, bottle that and like do go do this that way, like this. Or they try to like emulate my authenticity or your authenticity, but it's like, no, it's you got to go inside, find out who you really are and like express that. That's the kicker. That's the winning combination. And it's not something that you can there's no like checklist. There's no prescription for all of this. It's
Yeah.
just like you have to do you 110%.
I think authenticity is so important. I think that's why I joke. I actually have never checked the stats. I have no idea how many people listen to our podcast, but I do hear people talk to us about it. So I know we get at least like 5 or 6 people on a regular basis are listening. And I think one of the reasons is because we can't not be authentic with each other. And so when
Right.
I mean, like we make jokes about calling it, compost instead of shit or whatever on our first episode. Like we didn't want to offend anybody. I don't really care who I offend anymore because I just want to be me in all situations. And that's not to say like when you're on stage or I'm on stage that we aren't putting on our
Yeah.
professionalism, and you can say that's our professional persona if you want, but it's still authentic. It's my authentically professional persona. It's not like suddenly I invent a different backstory for who Michelle on stage is versus who Michelle sitting on her couch is, kind of thing. So that, but authenticity is so, so important. And I teach that when I talk about building your personal brand, that your personal brand
Yeah.
needs to be authentic because people, well, first of all, we live in a digital age, so it's not like we had to wait for like somebody had to wait for the Pony Express to come deliver a story that says, J Lo is perhaps not the angel you think she is, right? Like, I mean, that went
Right.
out like so quickly, right?
Yeah.
But so let's just be honest and say that if you're not authentic, people are going to start talking about you in a very public and very quick way. But
Yeah.
if you are also inauthentic, I think about like those people who have built entire like second families and everything and how they have to keep all those threads of the different webs disconnected and how you have to remember this person and that person and how like there's just too much to do. I don't have time or brain space to have more than one Michelle out there
Yeah.
at a time.
Yeah.
So no, I probably
Yeah.
botched up what I was trying to say, but I think you got it.
Yeah, totally get it. Like there's like some saying about lies like if you lie, if you pretend to be something that you're not, then you have to tell more lies in order to support
Yeah.
it until you've told so many lies that you've created something that is so far away you can't keep the story straight, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's like, um, but when you are 100% honest and like, even like, just like, hey, look, this isn't me. Hey, look, this
Right.
is what you're asking me to do here does
Yeah.
not fit with what my capabilities are. Like, just being that honest and coming right out and saying that and just clearing the
Hmm.
air, then at least you're still in the same playing field of you, right?
Yeah.
So even
Yeah.
though you might be like disappointing someone, you're still in the same playing field of being you and authentically you. But I think sometimes what ends up happening is, people find a little bit of success being a certain way, or and like in marketing, right? We hear this all the time. It's like, do a bunch of things and then measure what works and then double down on what works. Well, what if you do something that worked that was inauthentic to who you really are? Do you keep double downing on that? Do you keep going deeper and deeper into pretending to be something that you're not, or something that, like, where does that end up taking you? It takes you so far away
Hmm.
from like that true self, like
Hmm.
that. I think sometimes those like marketing adages of um do this one thing, and then if it works, there's your audience, and like trying to, like, there's one project that I've tried to work on that everybody does it one way, so I'm like, okay, let me see if this works, and then I do it that way, and it's like, God, I feel like I'm walking through molasses. This is not me. I don't want to do it this way. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it 100% my way. And it's just like, then the energy, it's like somebody just pulls a boulder out of the stream and the energy
Yeah.
just kind of like flows. It's easy. It's
Hmm.
done. And I don't have to like try to make this thing that is so inauthentic work. It's just, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Did I say that in New
Yeah.
York enough? It's
You sure did.
exhausting.
I like that. It's you could have some coffee with your exhaustion.
Oh my God, my thought is exhausting me.
No, I absolutely I can't stop giggling now. I
Give me some
agree.
water.
What a
Give me some
oh my
water. My
gosh.
blood is exhausting me. Oh God, I need to drink some
Oh my
water.
gosh. But yes, back to the I forgot the point right before that. I'm not gonna lie. The authenticity is so important. And, oh, right. So like if you start to build all these lies, so as you were saying that, I'm thinking about all of these mega preachers, like the people like the Joel Osteens of the world, right? And
Yeah,
I'm not judging their spirituality. I'm not judging their relationship with God, but I am judging the fact that they are sitting on an empire wearing, you know, thousands of dollars worth of suits and taking private planes and spending money that supposedly should be going to further the kingdom.
yeah.
And I understand needing security. I understand those kinds of things, maybe moving into a bigger house. I understand some of it makes sense, right, with growth. But who you are shouldn't be changing that much. And if it does, which one was the authentic person? And I would argue the current person and the other
Right.
using the other persona earlier to build into that empire. And that's not the kind of empire I want to build. I
It ends up, and just
You end
ends
up
up
crying
being
on
like a
stage
house of
like Jerry
cards.
Falwell. Yep.
Yeah, it ends up being a house of cards. Can I
Yeah.
just brag on my girl Taylor Swift for a sec? Because
Oh, of
did you
course.
see that news that, like, she's like bigger than big, right? And I love the fact that even though she's like taken a lot of barbs from people and has gone through a lot, she nobody could steal her music because it's all like written about her life, right? Who
Right.
steals that? It's about her. It's so authentically her. And she's in London. Like, she gets her like boyfriend up on stage, and the Royals are there. Paul McCartney is there. Like, all of these like really major people of huge note are there celebrating her music with her. And then she's taking the proceeds, and she has given like 1 year's worth of like financing to all of these like food banks in every city she's performing in. And somebody said something like, she is supporting more people who are hungry and in need in the city she's performing in than those governments are. Like, she's
Hmm.
doing more, like she's doing, but she's doing it so authentically 100% her. it's just 100% her. And, there's no like knocking that down. There's no like, I'm sure there's like a different Taylor, like when she's like having her little fun with Travis or whatever. Like I'm sure there's
Yeah.
like a side we don't see, but
Yeah.
she's authentically being herself
Hmm.
100% and authentically giving back and taking care of people. And I swear to God, I watch those shorts on Instagram, whatever, when she gives the hat to the little kids. I cry at every single one because it's like
Mm.
she's just being so authentic. That's like she's my like if you need a role model, like I know
Hmm.
she's like what? So much younger than me, but she's like
Okay.
such she's doing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I just do not vibe with the J Lo's of the world who are just like fake
Yeah.
fake friends. I vibe with the people who are like, okay, I know where I'm at. I'm grateful for this, and I'm going to do my part to like give back to the world. Like it just warms my heart so much. We need more
Yeah.
people like that.
So we're gonna end this with a story I'm going to tell you, not
Okay.
about Jennifer Lawrence's lack of authenticity, but my father's authenticity. Okay, like
Yeah.
my dad and I didn't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff over the years, for sure. But I gotta hand it to him when he was just himself. It was awesome. I was in Puerto Rico visiting him. My daughter was 9. She's 32 now. I can't do math. So this was a long time ago, 20 something years
Yeah.
ago. So he had to go, I don't know, pick somebody up from the airport or take somebody to the airport first thing in the morning. He comes back and my daughter and I are waking up and we're sitting down having breakfast. He goes, yeah, so I had to take so and so to the airport this morning, or I don't remember what he was there for. He goes, we're standing in line and um he goes, and there's this person in front of us. And I swear to God, they had an entourage with them. He said, so I was trying to figure out who it was because I didn't recognize them. So at one point, I got a peek over their shoulder at their ticket. Do you know anybody named Jennifer Lopez? Like,
That's
yes,
funny.
yes, I have heard of that person. So, but my dad, like he flew so much. He met so many people.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of different sports figures and Robin Williams and all these people he'd end up seeing on airplanes and things like that. But that one to me was the funniest. Like, have you ever heard of this person? Like, clue me in. Why is she famous? Kind of thing. So,
That's funny.
so there you go. I know a good story of my dad instead of a bad one. Anyway.
Yeah, that's great.
Bottom line, moral of the story, folks, be yourselves. Just be yourselves. It's so much
100%.
easier. Be authentic. It doesn't mean that you don't have different, ways that you work with people and different, like if I'm on a podcast, I'm not farting, like all of these kinds of things. Like there are things we do just, but be authentic in who you are. I promise you, for number one, you're worth it. You should just be who you are. And then number two,
Right.
like it just makes other people more comfortable and everything else. I don't know. I can't, I'm trailing off now. Bring us home, Kathy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's a temptation of desiring success, but not feeling deserving of that success. So you feel like you
True.
have to change who you are in order to fit into this external ideal that may be modeled on someone else, Taylor Swift,
Right.
or Jennifer Lopez, if that's your thing. Whatever external model that you have, but true authentic success and the most exciting success is the one that comes from within, the dream that is yours and yours alone, the dream that nobody else can give you, nobody else can tell you the road. You're going to go down the road less traveled as you do this. You're going to go down a place that no one else has ever done before because it's going to be uniquely yours, but it's going to be uniquely yours. You get
That's
to own
right.
it. You get to celebrate it. And guess what? The rest of the world is going to reflect that back to you and celebrate you too. How's that?
I love it. And on that note, we'll see everybody next week. Go be yourself. Bye.
Bye.
This has been WP Motivate with Kathy Zant and Michelle Frechette. To learn more or to sponsor us, go to WPMotivate.com.